Hi, I'm Josh, and I thought it might be nice to go through the steps of making a beat on the Volca Sample 2. Bit of a rainy day, what better to fit those rainy day lo-fi vibes than something like this? Now, if you've never seen the Volca Sample 2, I do have a first impressions video with it, but as a sort of general overview, it's a sample sequencer, so it doesn't actually sample audio into itself. There are mods I've heard that can give it that capability, but I'm not that handy with a soldering iron. So instead, I guess I'm using it the developer intended way. That is to say, I have loaded samples onto it, and then after you've got your samples loaded, you can sequence them. You can play around with some of their different settings, which as we play around with them, I'll explain what those are. But anyway, I already had a vision for a beat that I wanted to make. And to find the sample that I want to start with, I'm going to turn this little sample knob, and I'll tap the pad to make sure that I'm finding the sample I want. And that's the sample. It is a Mellotron flute sample. And the first thing I'm going to do is shorten it a little bit, because I don't need it to be that long. And I'm going to turn the decay so that it fades out a little bit more naturally. And you can hear there. Now it's fading out a little bit more. I think that will be good. So I wanted to start off by sequencing in an arpeggio using that flute sample. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit step mode, and you can see it says step here. And now I can choose which steps I want to have that sample triggered on. And I'm going to choose all of them. So on the Volca sample, you might notice it doesn't have a normal like piano style key input. So what I can do instead, if I want to change per step different parameters of the sample, is I will have to do just that. I'll tap on a step I want, and this knob here is speed, or if I press function and turn it, it will display pitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap on the step that I want, tap function, and then turn the knob. And now I've lowered it 7 semitones, so when I hit play, you'll hear a G and then just a bunch of C's. Very exciting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and change every step that I want to have be a different note. So I might just fast forward through that because it's not the most exciting thing to watch, and I will meet you when I am done. All right, and so now we're back, and if I hit play, you'll hear a kind of arpeggiated pattern. So I love how those Mellotron samples sound. They remind me, and this might not be really the intended response, but they remind me of like those old video game kind of sampled instrument sounds. Now, I want to give that a little bit more, I guess you could say space, sort of sonic context. So I'm going to turn on reverb. I'm going to press function or just funk, and this button here, reverb, and I'll tap on sample 1. So there's a reverb mix to choose the dry wet mix for the reverb, and I'm going to leave it where it is now, and if I hit play, it'll sound all reverby. It's kind of amazing. It's like adding reverb, added reverb. I think to add to this, I'm going to use a kick drum and a snare. Very bold, I know. I've already got a kick drum sample mapped here. So now I'm going to find a snare, and you can see as I turn, it's going to show a different number. Unfortunately, I don't think it's able to show the name of the sample file, but, you know, just have to work with your ears. So I like that one. Great. Next, I'm going to add some hi-hats. So when you're adding samples on the Volca sample, you might notice that I have these numbered channels going from 1 to 16. 1 to 10 are your samples. You can load up to 10 samples in a single pattern. And samples 9 and 10 are always going to be in what are called choke groups. So a choke group means that if sample 9 is playing and sample 10 was already playing, it'll mute sample 10 and play sample 9 and vice versa. This is useful for hi-hats because if you think about like a hi-hat on a drum kit, you can't have it be closed and open at the same time. So it helps things feel a little more, I don't know if organic is quite the word I'm looking for, but it helps them be a greater sort of a facsimile of reality. So like how we chose samples before, I'm going to tap on channel 9, which currently also has a bass drum. Every channel by default in this pattern had a bass drum mapped to it. And I'm going to turn until I get to some hi-hat samples. So there's one. And I want an open hat as well. That'll do. So I've got those two in there. Like we did before, I'm going to sequence these in step mode. I'm going to have a something like that. And now, if I wanted to go to channel 10 without exiting step mode, there's two ways I could do that. I could press function and hit channel 10, and now I'm in step mode for channel 10. Or I could use these part buttons to scroll through. Either one works. And it's really whatever you would like to do. So now if I hit play, maybe not the most hype, incredible beat you have ever heard, but let's add kick and snare and see if it becomes just a little bit cooler. So I'm going to go over to first my kick, and I'm going to do a really simple pattern because I like doing things in a simple way, and that is just who I am. And I'm now going to go over to my snare. All right, that is the sound I make when I am sequencing snare drums. And now if I hit play, great. I think our beat is coming along. I now want to add something in the lower end, not like a kick drum, but like a bass, to give it a little bit more presence in that direction. So I know that I have a bass sample in here, but as you might have noticed, I'm going to have to go and find it going entirely by ear, which might sound like a little bit of a drag if you're not used to the Volca sample. It's something I got used to pretty quickly, but I recognize that it might not be the most exciting thing to watch. But we found it right away anyway. So this one I think that I'm going to add a little bit differently. I'm going to live record it. So you see these two red buttons. I'm going to hit the one all the way over on the right, and it starts blinking, and it's waiting for me to either play a note or hit play. And I'm going to start by playing a note because I want one on the first beat. All right, so you might have heard at the end that I played a little bit of an extra faster rhythm. And my reason for that is that, like how we did the kind of per step speed / pitch changes with the Mellotron sample, I'm now going to do the same thing for the bass. So once more, I'm going to go into step mode, and I've got the bump, 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 bump. And I'm just going to change these last two to be a D and an E. And now when I hit play, you can hear that now we've got that little extra motion at the end. So the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into searching through my samples, because I've got a few that are a little more, I guess I want to say like atmospheric, that I might want to stick in just, you know, add a little extra texture. That one's nice. Maybe not that though. I do like that, but I've used it for a lot of other beats. I don't want to try to be original. Well, as original as I can be with my somewhat generic arpeggiated beat. I'll use that. So far, the song that we've been doing is in the key of C, but this kind of atmospheric pad is in the key of E. So I'm going to pitch it down, first one octave, so now it's E, but, you know, an octave down, so it lasts a little bit longer and has a little bit more presence. And so now to make it be a C, I'm just going to lower it another 4 semitones. So instead of minus 12 semitones, it's going to go down to 16. And we'll have that. And now I'm going to play around with this just a little bit more. I'm going to turn the high cut. And I'm going to add reverb on there as well. So that'll just be in the background, add a little bit of background interest. And I will go into step mode and just put that on the first step. And now if I hit play, so there we go. It's our kind of weird, not the most intense club beat ever made, but you know, I had fun making it and I do like how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you found this video informative or entertaining or both, please consider liking and leaving a comment to let me know. If you're new around here, welcome. Thanks so much for stopping by. And please consider subscribing if you enjoyed the video. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back. Happy to see you again. And yeah, I think we'll close off by just playing around with that beat and performing it a little bit. And thanks again. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.